I'm just in nature. Oh, look at these beautiful trees. And yeah, gonna come on here and talk about trees actually. Love trees. Just have my cacao here, of course, and it's a beautiful day here in Birmingham. Very windy, but there's something so cool about the wind. Maybe it's because I'm an air sign in Aquarius, but I love being in the wind. It feels so cleansing, right? But I was feeling called to pop in here and talk about trees. And I saw, first of all, how amazing are trees. Trees are just so amazing. They provide us with oxygen, right? So without trees, we literally wouldn't be here. The other thing that I kind of learned really recently, or a couple of years ago, is like if you look at the tree branches, it's actually very similar looking to our lungs. If you ever get an X-ray in your lungs, the bronchioles and the system of how the lungs are set up are very similar to the trees. So how cool is that? What I wanted to dive deep into is, have you ever heard of that saying of as above, so below? And I heard this thing the other day and I was like, oh, this is so good, I have to talk about it. So if you think about a tree, right? A tree, what does it start off as? It starts off as a little seed. You know, these trees, they all started off as a seed. And at one point they were under the ground where it's dark, it's damp, you know, and it's not necessarily a quote-unquote desirable place to be. It's dark, it's shadowy, it's dark. And then all of a sudden what happens is this little seed, it starts to grow roots. It starts to grow roots first down into the ground. I just feel like I need to use my hands to help explain this. So yeah, the roots, they grow down into the ground, right? So that's what initially first happens. The roots, they grow down into the ground. The seed gets nourished from the soil and the nutrients that come up through the roots into the seed. So the seed starts to grow the roots first. And then it starts to grow upwards. So a tree grows in two ways, right? A tree grows down and it grows up. And when I heard this the other day, I was like, oh, this is so good. Because once the tree has grown its roots into the ground, it starts to reach up towards the sky. You know, it has its first little sprout that sprouts out through the soil. And then from there, it's reaching higher and higher and higher to the sun, to the light, right? So the way this guy explained it, I can't remember who it was. I have to try and find it. But basically, you know, people, not everyone, but sometimes people want to be all like shining their brightest, having their most fruitful times in life. But actually, the fruitful times in life would not come to fruition if you didn't have the roots, if you didn't have the dark times, if you didn't have the shadows, if you weren't, you know, putting in the work or like going through those things, those soul lessons that we need to go through. And soul growth, evolution, the spiritual path, it is not love and light. It is not everything's all fluffy and positive, because you cannot have the positive without the negative. It's the yin and the yang. You actually need both. And in order to grow, like, look at these trees, look how high they've grown. And I'm just imagining how deep their roots are into the ground. This tree would not have grown this high if it was not for the roots that are deeply entrenched into the earth. Oh, this was so good, and such a good like, the more and more I like look into nature, the more and more I just really see how we are nature. We truly are. So yeah, this was like a really cool little topic that I came across the other day. I was like, I have to share this with you guys. I have to share it. This thought that, yeah, without the shadows, it's like I knew this already, but having this visualization was so cool. Without the shadows, without the darkness, we would not be able to shine. And ultimately, I feel it's actually about coming into balance, coming into our center, you know, spending time in the dark, spending time in the light to come into the center, because there was definitely a time in my journey, probably a few years ago, when I was like, oh, love and light, everything is so great, which I realize now it was almost because I didn't want to deal with the darkness, because it was so intense, because it was so heavy, because it was my shadows, right? And a lot of the times I think our shadows can be demonized almost, or we want to not see them as a part of us, but actually we are all of it. We are the dark, we are the light, we are the yin and the yang. We need them both, and it's about learning to befriend both sides of us, the shadow and the light, the roots and the high branches, the fruits, to really live in a balanced, holistic way. And for me, the balance is the peace. That is the sweet spot. That is the inner heaven. When you can learn to live in that realm. And of course, life experiences will come at us that will take us out of that alignment, that will take us off that path. But ultimately, for me, I feel it's like always about coming back to our center, always coming back to our heart, and always coming back to love. So yeah, this was the little chat that I wanted to talk to you about today. How we are trees. And that without the darkness, without, when we were a little seed, and the tree was a little seed, without being in the damp, dark soil, growing those roots down into the earth, it would not be able to grow into these beautiful big trees. So just remember that. Just remember that. Remember, if you are going through some dark, denser, heavier moments, some dark nights of the soul, some ego deaths, whatever you want to call it, some crappy times, just remember it's part of the life experience. It's part of the human experience. We are human. We are souls living a human experience, and this is what we came here to experience. So embrace it. Dive deep into it. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. And just remember, you are human. You came to this university of life to learn and to grow. So yeah, thank you so much for being here today on this little random live. I just love being out in nature. This is a reminder to you to get out into nature today. If you're new to my little YouTube page, welcome. My name is Lou. Do go ahead and subscribe if you would like to. I hold meditations. There's a 30-day meditation challenge playlist that I have created. Also a 7-day chakra meditation playlist, and I also like to dance. So there is a chakra dance tutorial there as well, where I help you kind of work through different chakras and move. So yeah, have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. I'm going to be heading off to Ireland next week to dive deeper into working with cacao, beautiful heart-opening medicine from the Solomon Islands, where I am from. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'll hopefully update you when I'm there. Have a beautiful day, dear souls. Remember, we are trees. Without the darkness, we cannot have the light. Without the roots, we cannot have the fruit. Much love.